Hello. Happy New Year. I hope you're having a good New Year already so far. Mine is, I can't complain. Even though I'm having like sort of a bad day today. I don't want to claim it though, but sometimes people, they see you trying to do something and then they, downplay it or whatever. But it could discourage you, but you just got to keep going. You got to listen to yourself and do what you want to do. But anyway, I am off work today, so I thought I would come and read the next chapter of my book, Onyx Love. Let me see. The last chapter I think was chapter 3, I think. Yeah, chapter 3. And it only got 15 views. So I could get discouraged, but I won't because I want to be consistent. Maybe in a year or whatever, people come back and look at it. You can keep content up and entertainment up for a long time, so I don't get discouraged. But anyway, I just one little note about the Holly Johnson case and the Ramika Blackman situation. Holly Johnson had a hearing today, and they kept her in. They didn't let her go home. So I think she's going to stay in jail until the trial. So that's just a little footnote. And I hope everybody is doing well. Um, a little note about Onyx Love. Well, I guess I shouldn't. I shouldn't say because I might give away the book. But all my books have spiritual slants, I would say. Different perceptions of how I see things, um, how I feel about life and death and things like that. And and I do notice that in Onyx Love, I feel like if I'm going to be honest, Onyx Love was not written well, and I because this book didn't have an editor. I edited it myself, so people probably got frustrated with the typos and things like that. But I'm since I'm reading it, I'm going to read it the way that it should have been written, and I can take accountability for that. But anyway, okay, so I'm going to read chapter 4. Um chapter 3, Onyx, she met Cleveland, and she really thought that he was handsome, and she found somebody or whatever. It was my introduction to Cleveland. So anyway, and this book is, it's got a lot of twists. It's got a lot of twists. So just keep with me. So, anyway, chapter 4, Smoke and Mirrors. That evening was very special to me as it marked a beginning and an end, the start of a new relationship and an ending of an old one. Julie said it was time for me to move on, and she was right. Cleveland and I dated for months after that night. We really enjoyed ourselves and we had a lot in common. Both of us working in the entertainment industry and in the corporate world. Cleveland's parents invited me to dinner every Sunday, and we talked about future plans. Ginger inherited an estate on Martha's Vineyard, and we were going to go on holiday. Look at me using the term holiday. Who was I fooling? I had to admit the Bouchers have a lot of money, and it was old money. Ginger's father started in entertainment law and made a name for himself in the sports field. Then, of course, Ginger married Cleveland Sr., and he joined Ginger's father and inherited the business. Now, Cleveland Jr. is running the law firm, and he was doing a good job. I must say so myself. I am very impressed how he runs that office and turns over the client ratio. We had turned into the perfect power couple, and yet we had not yet consummated our relationship. I do not know what I was waiting for. We have some pretty close to going all the way, but something always stopped us. I don't know. If I was going to be honest, I would say that Cleveland, although fine as all get out, did not turn me on as much as Leon. And the comparison was so far in between. I hate that. Because when you meet somebody and you always got to compare them. Sometimes you compare them when they're their own individual. Why you always have to bring the past into your future? Once you're done, you should be done. But anyway, but I knew I had to stop comparing the two, but I could not. I had to find a way if it killed me. Cleveland was every woman's dream, almost a mirage this day and age. No kids, never been married, a great career, fine and very pleasant to be around. It was something wrong with me. Why was I not in love with this man? I felt no genuine connection, other than the fact that we were friends. It was time for us to do the do. I'm going to have sex with Cleveland. That is why the fire had not been lit. I had to rush into work early. I wanted to get in and out. I had some shopping to do. Candles for ambiance, nice lingerie for scenery, and shrimp for the afterglow. I had a smile on my face as I drove down Sunset Boulevard. As I walked out of the elevator into Us Records, I could see Julie talking to someone at her desk. I threw my purse on my office chair. I could see she was talking to Leon. What was he doing here? I asked myself as I started walking closer to my problem. Good morning, Ani, Julie said as she smirked and rolled her eyes at her company. Good morning, I said back and nodded my head to Leon in acknowledgement of his presence. How have you been? Leon asked. Leon asked if we were old friends that just had not seen each other because we were so busy. Okay, this is the moment where you do not give into the past and start going down memory lane. Strictly professional, I kept in mind on the down low. I've been well, and you? I asked Leon. Leon started to speak, but before he could, Julie interrupted. Onyx, you know we can't seem to find a big enough venue to hold Leon's band. Thanks, Julie, I said in my mind as my sister found my way to keep it business. Leon's new band has started touring and his music went into a new genre called neo soul. I was not surprised that he was a hit. They had talent. They just needed the world to take notice. Okay, Julie, I will get right on it. I think the Arrowhead Pond would be cool. Then we could get Ariel to open. Ariel, Leon shouted. You know, she is a pain in my butt. I looked at Leon like he was the biggest fool in the universe, and I thought how brand new he was being. Ariel is a crossover artist. She introduced you she can introduce you to her audience and maybe cross you over to a bigger fan base. Great idea, Annie, added. I know that's why I get the big bucks, I said as I started to walk down the hall to my office. I could hear footsteps following behind me. This was not open for discussion. Ariel was a diva. She was so ridiculous. At one time, she hired a flower girl, just a girl to throw rosebuds at her feet when she would walk. Only white ones. It got so bad, business started sending the record company bills for the extra cleaning fees. But she delivered. She was a triple threat. She could sing, dance, and act. And she also was a beauty. You hated her, but God knows it was not for long. Leon had the nerve not to want to share stage with her. He was unbelievable. I stood in the doorway of my office, and 12 dozen roses were on my desk. As soon as I saw them, I just started to gleam. I knew who they were from. Cleveland must have gotten my message about our date tonight. Hello, I said as I walked to grab the card. Onyx, looking forward to seeing you tonight. Before I could finish reading the card, who are those from? I heard Leon say. Yes. Who are those from, Annie? Julie grabbed the card out of my hands. This was invasive. I felt annoyed. Why are all you people in my office? I questioned the nosy as I grabbed the card back from Julie. Well, I don't need to read the card. I know who those roses are from. Julie sat down in one of my comfortable chairs, getting comfortable. Who are they from? Leon asked, this time in a higher pitch, almost as if his voice cracked. I sat down behind my desk and just looked at Leon as to say, are you for real? Mm. And that's another thing. Once you start moving on and you trying to date other people, then here they come being nosy like they care. And it's just ego, really. Him asking her who the flowers were. He got some nerve. But anyway, uh, who are they from? Leon asked again. This time, and okay. I sat down behind my desk and just looked at Leon as to say, are you for real? I guess he noticed my lack of approval. Is there anything I can help you with? I asked both of the onlookers. Nope, not me. Julie sat up and proceeded to walk out of my office as she gave me two thumbs up. Leon must have forgotten all about the argument. He thought that would get me to change my mind about teaming up with Ariel, and he walked out of my office slowly. Slowly, surely, I walk away from. I heard Jill Scott singing my theme music as I watched his selfish self disappear. I sat back in my seat and started to read the card again. Onyx, looking forward to seeing you tonight. I cannot wait to see you smile. Love, Cleveland. I thought to myself, is he going to make me smile? Or does he mean he likes my smile? Let's hope he is going to make me smile. All day at work, I could not stop cheesing. I had a glow before the afterglow began. It was something about potential love that had a certain manner of possibilities, freshness. The day was over. I made a call to Ariel's people and they were down with the concert that was set for October. I thought it might be too cold for an outdoor concert, maybe even rain, but with all the publicity and hype we were going to have, we might just pull it off. As I drove home from the grocery store and heavy shopping, I almost was too tired for the night's event. I almost should have arranged this little rendezvous on a Saturday, but anywho, it was too late to back out now. It was 7:30 p.m. I looked at my watch. Excuse me. I looked at my watch and as I opened my front door and shoved the groceries on the floor, I had exactly an hour before Cleveland was to arrive, and I had no time to waste. It was shower time. I stripped naked as the trail of my clothing outlined my path. in my building, you had to wait at least 5 minutes for the water to get warm. Had no time. Oh, this water was cold. I washed everything I could see and extra care in the parts I could not. My shower was quick as I dried off and lotioned my body with Victoria's Secret lotion and then layered the pear spray. My underarms seemed like they needed sure. I was sure glad I had some because I was nervous. Steadily with the flow, I put on my makeup. Nothing too heavy, just some eyeliner and mascara with a little gloss. I rushed and picked up the whatnots that were on the corner and the trail of my clothing. I ran to the front door and grabbed the lingerie that I just bought, red satin panties and all. But as I looked at the get up, I felt foolish. I was looking too hungry. I placed the beautiful lingerie in my dresser drawer and threw on some nice low waisted jeans and a cut off t shirt. But I wore the satin panties. The carpet felt nice and plush as I walked around lighting candles, and of course, I put my favorite CD in the player to make sure the mood was set all night, or as long as it took for Raheem Devine was blasting as I sang the song, Guess Who Loves You More? I love when a man had a strong voice but had a sensitive side. Yeah, I said out loud as I did a little twirl. I started to put the groceries up that I had on the floor. I pulled out my party platter and arranged the shrimp with a little cocktail sauce. I looked around the room. I could not do anything better than this. Oh, some incense, I remembered. Yeah. I said again as I smelled the aroma wafting across the room. I looked at the clock, 8:30 p.m. He was late. I guess it would seem a bit too anxious if he was here on the dot. I walked to the kitchen counter and poured a glass of wine. I took one sip and ding dong, it was him. Here we go, I, I said as I placed the glass of wine on the counter. I walked to the door and opened it. There was Cleveland standing at the door with another bottle of champagne and one single rose. He also had on jeans, dark blue ones, loosely fit but not too loose that they were hanging down to his knees. A nice coffee colored sweater and some slip on loafers that added an extra touch, if I do say so myself. Hey, beautiful, Cleveland smiled as he handed me the rose. My leg is kind of hurting, sorry. Um, Cleveland smiled as he handed me the rose. I kissed his thick lips gently as I grabbed his hand and glided him inside. Sure does look and smell nice in here, Cleveland said as he looked around the room. I set the rose down, grabbed the bottle of champagne from his other hand, and set it down on the counter as well. Yes, just for you, baby, I said as I started to kiss him again. But this time, Cleveland grabbed me and picked me up with a touch that was not rough but awkward. Cleveland glided me on the living room floor, and before I knew it, we were kissing and undressing before Raheem's third track. Whoa, I said. I really did not have time to think. Cleveland was on me like white on rice. What happened to the romance? I mean, as I might as well have stopped and got a bucket of chicken and some beer and dimmed the light down some. Before I knew it, we were naked and doing the deed. My mind did not have time to connect to my body. Our rhythm was off. I wanted to stop, but it seemed like Cleveland was enjoying himself, so I went with it. It was almost like I was not there, but he was holding me and he was touching me, but I could not feel it. Where were the tingles and the burn I felt with Leon? It was not there. Therefore, I closed my eyes to try to find the connection. Okay, I started to get into it more. Go with the flow. Just go with the flow, I said to myself. But before I could fully get into a groove, Cleveland was finished and seemed quite satisfied. I looked up at the ceiling as I enjoyed Raheem sing every word of this song gonna be about you. I enjoyed that song immensely. You are so beautiful, Cleveland said as he reached for my hand. Now, I know I don't think men have this experience, but because I think as long as a man climax, I don't know if a man climaxes or does he climax? As long as a man finishes, it was good sex, I think. But for women, it could be awkward if the rhythm is off and your bodies don't fit. Sometimes that happens. But anyway, I don't know if men understand that or not. But anyway, um, let's see where am I at. Thank you, I smiled. What are you thinking? He asked as he grabbed for his undershirt. And this is this the moment when I'm supposed to lie? And then not only that is it was the first time they were gonna make love. Well, we call it making love, but I don't know if a man looks at sex as making love. Does he? I don't know. I'm not sure. But it's a difference. It's a difference in having sex and making love. And for him to just dive on her and not take his time, have a little romance, build up the love making. I mean, he was just he was just too awkward. But anyway, he was just too into himself. I think that's selfish, but anyway, whatever. So, is this the moment when I'm supposed to lie and say I wasn't thinking how unsatisfied I felt and I could teach him how to please me? I don't know. What are you thinking? I replied instead as I grabbed for my shirt, trying my hand at the jet eye mind trick. I'm thinking about us and our future. Cleveland was happy and seemed to be floating on air. I looked at him and started to see myself through his eyes. I started to get happy also. So, what about our future? I said as I got up and walked to the bathroom to wash up. Cleveland followed behind me and I gave him a towel from the linen closet as we both stood up in front of the bathroom sink, taking what my mother would call a hookah bath. I do not know why we just did not take a shower. I guess we were still in the essence of the moment. Now Maxwell was playing in the background. I was born again when I was broken. I wouldn't believe. I heard Maxwell sing this song many times, but it was something about this moment that made me really hear the words. I walked in the kitchen, poured 2 glasses of wine, and grabbed a plate of shrimp. As I got comfortable on the living room floor, I waited for him to come out of the bathroom. I wondered why we were dining and nesting on the floor. I had a great king size bed and also a couch for that matter. So, are we down for Martha's Vineyard this weekend? It's the end of the summer and there should be some great parties going on. My mother and father are looking forward to the company. Cleveland said as he sat by my side. I just looked at this man. Cleveland, why is it that you have never been married? I just wo- worked so I just worked so much I didn't have a chance to cultivate a relationship. So what is so different about me? I said, sorry you guys. My my nose is still running. Sorry about that. Hey, it's real. I know you wipe your nose sometime too. Don't you? Anyway. Um, I feel like I still got some snot. But anyway, Cleveland, why is it that you have never been married? Okay, so what is the difference about me? I said, suffering more, stuffing more shrimp into my mouth. Who said the difference was you? Oh, excuse me, I laughed as I almost choked on my food. No, babe, I just meant I have changed. He said as he leaned back on his arms. I don't know if it was the wine or the candles that flickered around the aura of this man, but I wanted to try again. I moved closer to him and kissed his chest. Baby, do you think we can just lay here for a while? Cleveland asked. I looked down. Cleveland wasn't aroused at all. Okay, I said disappointedly. I reluctantly lay beside him as we both listened to Maxwell sing Woman's Work. Cleveland and I talked about life and his ambition. I asked him how many kids he wanted. He wanted 10. I thought it was a joke, but he was serious. He said you should have as many kids as you can afford. Easy for him to say, he wasn't the one birthing babies. The candles dwindled down to nothing. The incense burned and the smell of Nanchampa drifted. We soon fell asleep. His touch was not a fire, and his kiss was not a flame, but I was going to love him just the same. I sang my own song. So that was chapter 4. And I think that's another thing about women is that we settle. I mean, not settle, but we can. I don't think a man does that. But a lot of time women are settled you know, for a man that, she doesn't have all her boxes checked by him. But I don't know, that was chapter 4. Um, it's starting to be like, which I'm just laying the foundation of the relationships and getting the characters together and everything like that. But this book is going to go into on another level, and you're going to see that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed chapter 4. And if you want to support my channel, you can subscribe, you can like, and you can share. That would be nice. Um, let's see. Next week, I'm going to be consistent and I'm going to keep reading the book. So next week, I will see you here and we will read chapter 5 of the book. So, anyway, have a nice evening. Bye bye.